Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. Yo, you gotta unmute yourself, yo. Oh, all right. I'm doing it now. Just letting you unmute. Can you unmute now? All right, now try to unmute yourself now.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? This is KJ Johnson, your trusted real estate professional. I am actually doing a home buyer workshop, and I'm actually taking care of business too. You know, I had a situation come up, and I had to be at two places at one time for a client, and there's no way I can do that. So I said, okay, well, I'm on my way to take care of that, and I'm going to take care of you guys too. So we're going to dive right in and talk about the things that we need to in terms of getting your house prepared for sale. Okay, it's important that if you want to even have any success in this business, in terms of a successful sale or purchase, first we need a home that's going to be sold. Okay, yeah. And the first thing we're going to do is turn your home into a product. Okay, that's what's important. Turn your home into a product. How do you do that? Okay. One of the first things we're going to do is we're going to declutter. All right. So you're going to get a storage unit. All right. You're going to get a storage unit, and you're going to put all of your access things in the storage unit. Everything that you're not using is going to go into this storage unit. Okay. Why? Because a buyer actually wants to see themselves living in your house. And if you have a lot of clutter in it, a lot of personalized things, then they just really don't get the full effect. So the first thing I'm going to suggest that you do preparing your home for sale is to declutter. Number one. Okay. The second thing you want to do is look at any subsequent repairs you might want to take advantage of, or, in terms of the kitchen and the bathrooms. You might want to look into partner with a contractor that can come in and help turning your home into a product by updating your bathrooms, updating your kitchens, painting. Fresh paint is always welcoming. Making sure you have plugins in your home. A nice aroma when you come into a house is just as important as the house looking good. Curb appeal, making sure that you have a nice landscape.
Everything good. I'm up here doing the show now with KJ, but he on his phone and this shit breaking up.
Now a lot of acts, KJ, do I need to get home inspection? You can on that report for you now becomes mature. So that means you have to disclose everything that's on that report. Okay? Everything
all right.
That's on that report. Be to get a contractor to come out your home, and they can check the major components to make sure everything is in order. They can check your roof, they can check your plumbing, your electrical, and things of that nature. Okay? So if you do a home inspection, you're going to have, because when you list your house, there's something called a disclosure disclaimer. You either disclose everything that's on the that's wrong with your house, or you disclaim, meaning that you don't know what's wrong with it. Now, most people do a disclaimer. Now, why? Most people do a disclaimer because they've lived in the house for a certain amount of time and they don't know everything that's wrong with it. A home inspector is going to come and they're going to see that maybe in the attic that the roof has been leaking. They're going to see that the bathroom basement has some leaking. Why? You don't use that bathroom down there. That don't mean it's not leaking. You know, so a lot of people, when they list a house, they just do what they call a disclaimer. But once you do a home inspection, you can't sign a disclaimer. You have to do a disclosure. Okay, and that could come back and be a situation for you, especially if you're apprehensive about fixing some items. Like some people say, I'm selling my house, I don't want to fix certain things. Well, you may have to, because if you don't disclose it, then you have to fix it. Okay. So those are that's where you want to start at in terms of getting your home prepared, for sale. Okay. Should you get an appraisal or determining value? Right now, the value on homes are up, 65%. I mean, some of the homes that were in, PG County, Bowie, the single family 2-car garage homes last year was $389. Some of them are in the fives, almost 600,000 now. So the value of real estate is going up through the roof in certain areas. Okay, so if you get an appraisal, that can help you determine value. However, when the buyer gets a appraisal done, that appraisal is going to be the one that actually matters, not yours. Okay, so agents do something called a BPO, a broker price opinion, or they call it a competitive market analysis. All right. So if they're not doing a competitive market analysis, if you're not going to do that, then the appraisal will be the next best thing to do. But just know that when you partner with a buyer and they have a lender and you have a ratified contract, they're going to order their appraisal, and that appraisal is going to be the one value that you're going to go with. All right. So you make it an appraisal. The appraiser may say the house is worth $599. Your buyer's appraiser say it's worth $540. You can give them a copy of that, but an appraisal is an educated opinion of value. And if you have a license, you can give one, unfortunately. So what that means is you can get 3 appraisals to give you 3 different values. And the underwriter have to determine which one's the best. And most of the time they go with the ones that's less. Then there's a whole formality that you can go through to fight that if you believe that it's higher. However, you don't really want to put yourself through that if you don't have to. All right. So that's going to be how you determine the value on the property. All right. So now you have determined the value on the home. You've gotten it ready for sale. All right. You've taken care of any home inspection issues. Now you want to make sure that you make your home available to be seen. I understand that, we have a family and everybody has everyday life that's happening. But if you're not making your home available for sale to be seen within an hour notice or less, 30 minutes or less, if you really want to have a lot of success, then you're doing yourself a disadvantage in a market that's super hot. And when I say super hot, I mean inventory as a whole is down 29%. Sales are up 36%. I know you said, now, KJ, I know math. That don't make sense. Here's why that those numbers make sense, because houses that would normally sit on the market and wouldn't sell for months are selling in days now. So I was watching a report that said between now and August, it's like 95 million homes are about to come to the market, across the country, from California, over to the East Coast where we are. So now that the COVID vaccine is out and sellers are absolutely ready to sell, because before they say, look, you're not coming in my house with no COVID. So they just would go a whole different route. But now that the vaccine is out, more people are getting vaccinated, they're starting to warming up to the idea of putting a home for sale as long as, the COVID precautions are in place, So with that being said, it's important to just keep that in mind. All right. So now we talked about getting your home prepared for sale. We talked about the value. All right. Making your home available. All right. All those are real key and important things to do if you want to be successful. All right. If you really want to be successful, those are things to do. Some people say, well, I don't want to do all that. Well, the clients that I work with, we sell their houses in days with multiple offers. And if you want to be on the winning side, then you want to follow those steps. These are what the big boys doing. If you go to any brokerage that's going to have that's going to produce any amount of success for you in a fast amount of time, they're going to suggest that you do that. Now, if you get an agent that just does everything that you ask, then you shouldn't be paying him. You're doing the work. Your agent is the professional. They know exactly what needs to be done, and you just need to trust them to do it. So even if your agent isn't suggesting any of these are the things that you need to do. All right. Now we're going to move on, because after you have a home for sale, you need to be able to buy it. And if your credit's not good, then you have a whole other situation right there. So big shout out to the group Black Fathers. I asked some of you guys to come on so we can talk about how to get them credit scores up. If you're on Facebook, and you from the Black Fathers group, text or comments, Credit Karma, and all these other things, but you really have to have a hard inquiry on your credit in order to know exactly what your score is, because there's so many different components to your credit, and there's different scoring systems. You have FICO 1 through 8. You have the Advantage score. You have all these different systems and algorithms, and depending on what app you're using or what application you're using, you may get multiple numbers. So you pull your credit on your app. You're like, I'm good. I'm at a 659, and then you go to another app, and the app say you had a 511. Why? Because you have a whole lot of different ranges. So I always suggest people, especially if you're buying a house, don't be afraid. Partner with a lender. Have your credit pulled. Once they pull your credit, in most cases, at least with the lenders that I work with, we customize your credit repair once we see your credit report. Because a lot of times we can run you through the system, and the system will tell us exactly what we need to do to get your score to the threshold score of a 640 or 680, whatever product you're using, whatever credit score you would need. It'll tell you what you need to do. Some of them will tell you it'll take you 3 years or 4 years to do it, but nonetheless, it tells you how to do it. Now, we have ways to expedite that, of course, and we just want to dive into some of those. All right, so we're just getting past tax season. A lot of people ain't got their tax money, and the first thing they do is to say, I want to pay all my outstanding debt. That does not always fix your credits. In some instances, it can bring your score down. All right, so where you want to start is establishing new credit that isn't late, that have no latenesses. That's where you want to start at, not writing letters and paying bills and things of that nature. Establishing a new foundation of 4 to 7 trade lines, and then managing those trade lines effectively so that it produces the results that you want on your credit score. So I'm going to throw you some names of some companies out there, because I know that some people are dealing with some real challenging situations. COVID, divorce, separation, job loss. We've really went through a lot over the past 24 months. And some people were dealing with things even before that. So my number one go-to company, Fingerhut, and 99% of the time you'll get approved for it. And some people don't like Fingerhut for some reason. They're like, well, I've heard of them, but I haven't seen anything on it that I like. Well, if you look hard enough, you'll find something. But the most important thing is the type of account that is, and getting approved for that account will actually open the door for other creditors to take a chance with you. All right. So get yourself a Fingerhut account. I apologize for wearing this hat. This sun out here is unforgiving. I had to put on some shade. I'm in a little bit shaded area now, but I apologize about the hat. So Fingerhut, let's get you a Fingerhut account. All right. That's the first company I'm going to suggest that you start with. The second one's going to be OpenSkyCC.com. OpenSkyCC is a secure credit card. For the most part, they will approve you as well. Okay, but you're welcome to go to Bank of America, PNC, and Capital One and try to get a secure credit card with them. Okay, because for the most part, those credit cards will graduate, meaning that it starts off as an unsecured and then it matures to starts off as a secured, then it matures to an unsecured. And Capital One is great. Now, if you had Capital One and you messed up with them, they're very forgiving. You give them a call. A lot of times they'll let you know what you need to do to requalify with them. All right. Now, in the event that you're not having any success there, then I tell you to always go to a credit union. CQ is my go-to credit union. Not to say anything else about any other credit unions, but CQ really does take a different approach to lending than most credit unions. They really do want to help you reestablish your credit because they want to loan you money. Okay, they want to help you fix your credit so that they can loan you money. All right. So one product they have is called a deposit secured account or secured share account. And this is how that works. You go to the credit union, and when you go there, they have something called a secure shared account or savings account or checking account. So you open up a savings account, okay, and you put $300 in. When you put the $300 in your savings account, they put a hold on it, which makes that a secured loan at that point. And then they can loan you $300. So you'll give them $300, and then the $300 is given right back to you like the same day. Okay. In some instances, people open up multiple accounts and they just give them the $300. They fund the money, put it back into the savings account. They do another loan, move the money from their savings account to the secured instrument again, and they fund it back right into the same $300. It's just moving money around. You just have to understand how this works. You're just giving them money as a security blanket. They're putting a hold on it and loaning it back to you. Real simple. But what that does is it creates a trade line, which can have a traumatic effect on your credit report. Okay, getting positive trade lines. I said 4 to 7 is what your goal should be. Okay, so if you're not having success, sometimes you can get 3 to 5 of those, but you want to have a system to it. So you want to get the fingerhut account. You want to get 3 or 4 of those accounts. And then once those accounts hit your credit report, you want to pay it down to 50%, not all, because you want to keep it open for a certain amount of time. And you want to amortize it out for 5 years. All right. So some credit unions will do that for 6 months, a year. It's really not long enough, even though it will help. You need it as long as possible. And here's the reason why. One of the major components of your credit is length of history. All right. Now, you're not going to keep them open for 5 years, but we may keep them open for 12 to 24 months. All right. And then by the time you're paying those accounts off, your credit score has matured to a level where you can apply and get a Discover or get a Credit One or possibly a Bank of America or something like that. Okay. But we have to create the trade lines on your credit report, which will then allow your score to increase. Okay. So we have Fingerhut. We have a secured credit card with Bank of America, PNC, Open Sky, or Capital One. And now we have the credit union. Now, credit unions, CQ, they also do secured credit cards. So you may be able to go there and do all of you can go there and get a secured credit card and then a secured share loan along with the Fingerhut. You have your 4 to 7 lines of credit open within a week. So 30 days from the day you complete your last loan, now you're going to start seeing your score go up immediately. So someone asked, well, how many secured cards should I get? How many secured share loans should I get? So here's the magic number to that. You want to do at least 2 secured credit cards, 3 secured loans, shared loans, and then the Fingerhut account. That's a good start. Once they hit your credit report, then we'll have you apply for a Discover or maybe a Capital One unsecured, because then they'll take a chance with you. All right. But you need to get those on your credit report first. Otherwise, they won't want to take a chance with you. All right. So that's the easiest way to start that. The next thing is, if you have credit cards and you're at your limit, paying those credit cards down will boost your score. They'll change your utilization rate. Right? Some people say, well, I don't have the I just don't have the money, the resources to pay it down. Call them and ask for a credit line increase. So if you have a $5,000 account and you owe $4,000, your utilization rate is high. But if they give you an additional $5,000, Well, now you change your utilization rate is low and your score goes up. All right. So if you have 4 credit cards and you get a credit line increase on all 4 of them, you can boost your score and you haven't paid anybody off. All right. You can also add credit. There's a company out there, New Coast Direct. There's a My Jewelers Club. They'll give you $5,000 each. Right now, I believe that New Coast Direct only reports to 1 bureau, and then I think that My Jeweler now only reports to 1 bureau. And some credit repair experts are saying that that's the damnation of the two. And I'm gonna tell you my take on that. I don't believe that's the case. And here's the reason. This is KJ's 2 cents, but it's my 2 cents. Here's what I got to say about that. When you're looking to buy a house, they look at 3 credit scores: Equifax, TransUnion, Experian. Right? If you're flat, meaning that you're just about the same number on all 3, and you get a New Coast Direct and they report to Equifax, and then you get a My Jewelers and they report to TransUnion, that's going to boost both of those scores up, right? So when a bank look at your credit, they look at the qualifying score. The qualifying score is your middle score. So if you can boost up 2 of them, one of those numbers are going to be your qualifying score. So you may have a 700, you might have a 589, and you might have a 670. Well, the 670, that's going to be your qualifying score. It's the number in the middle. So just because they don't report to all 3, listen, we dialing for credit scores here. If they report to 1, that's 1 less you have to worry about. So don't look at that as not a good thing. And yes, it's a $99 fee, and yes, you have to buy something. But listen, once you get your credit where it needs to be, we're going to have you with the Black Card. We're going to get you with, Discover. We're going to get you with Chase, some of the Barclay products that are out there. So you just have to just allow yourself the room and the time to get where you want to be. All right. So listen, I have partnered with credit repair companies. My first 50 or so homes I sold when I got in the business, we helped them with their credit. Now, listen, back then you only needed a 560 credit score. Things are different now, so it's a little different. But as times change, we had to change our tactics. We had to change our methodology to credit repair. And it's not all about just writing letters and getting things off your credit report. It's not all about just paying everything on your credit report. You have to know the components, the length of time, the utilization rate, the mix of accounts, the new accounts, your inquiries. All right, all of that makes up your entire credit score. Now, if length of time is a major factor and you're trying to buy a house, well, time is not on your side because you want to buy a house in 6 months, right? So the next compensating factor is mix of credit, right? And the balances that you owe on them. So that's where your focus should be, is getting the credit and keeping your balances low. That's going to have a major impact short term, but it might be just what you need to get you what you're looking for now. And then a year or 2 down the line, and then you start to see your score go up into the 7s and ultimately into the 800s. All right. So that's where you want to start at. All right. That's a good foundation right there in order to help you get those credit scores up. All right. Let's talk about writing letters to creditors if you have latenesses and things of that nature. Now, some people say this doesn't work, but it absolutely works because they say I'm not only a client, I'm the president. Well, they actually, on one of my creditors, accidentally didn't process my one of my payments, and it cost 30 days later on my credit report. And I was like, what? Nah, this does not happen. I've been paying you. I pay you automatically. So what happened was they actually changed systems. And because they actually changed systems, something happened where my payment wasn't processed, and it cost 30 days late. So I wrote a letter to the vice president of operations and told him what was going on. And his secretary called me and took it 30 days later off right there. That quick, that fast, that easy. All right. Sometimes you have to get these people on the phone. You have to write the vice president and say, listen, I had a lateness. Whether, maybe it wasn't your fault, or maybe it was your fault. Even if you were late, sometimes they'll do what they call a Goodwill Adjustment. Now, they're not going to do a Goodwill Adjustment if you late 9 months. in a row, they're not going to do that. But if you missed a payment here and there, they have the ability to do that. Now, I'm going to tell you something that another client of mine did that worked. And what it was, there was a time period from March 2020 to I want to say to maybe October, where Governor Larry Hogan said that there would be no adverse affecting or reporting on credit reports during this COVID threshold or window. So they used that. They were absolutely wrong, but because that was something that Mr. Hogan had a declaration on, they had to change it. They were absolutely wrong, but they got like 4 or 5 accounts changed. So if you have any latenesses during the COVID time, utilize that. Find an article and submit that information and try to get that goodwill waiver or change. Okay. Another thing you could do, we're going to talk about writing letters. I always use letters last because so many credit repair companies talk about rounds and this and that. You're going round 1, round 2, like you're in a fight or something. It's cycles, 30-day cycle. Because when you're late on an account, they go in 30-day cycles. All right. So you want to approach credit repair from a cycle mindset, not a round mindset. All right. So writing letters should be the last thing that you do. Okay. And you need to learn how to write them effectively. All right. Don't send the same letter you've been sending for the past 5 years and wondering why nothing is helping. You have to change up. You got to keep them guessing. So some instances you might want to handwrite your letter, and it could be as simple as this. My name is KJ Johnson. My social security number is 555-553348, and my date of birth is 11/1 and to whom it may concern, I'm writing you to inform you that I have multiple latenesses reporting on my credit report, and due to because of the Fair Credit Reporting Act, you have to report accurate information at all times, and this information is inaccurate. So I'm requesting that this information be removed immediately, and I've enclosed a copy of my driver's license and my social security card to verify my identity. All right, now if the address on your driver's license is different than where you live, then you have to send them proof in maybe a water bill or utility bill or something like that, and then you send that letter in the mail to the bureaus, to the credit bureaus. They're going to then fill out a form, and they're going to get in contact with their creditors. Sometimes you have to contact the creditor directly. All right, if the creditor cannot provide in 30 days written verification of your debt, meaning that you applied for Capital One, you spent the money, right? Right. But they, on a technicality, they can't provide something with your signature. Guess what? They got to delete it. They got to go. Okay. Now it can always come back, but it has to go. All right. So sometimes you can just create and challenge the bureaus directly. Please provide me in writing something that verifies that I actually, that I'm the owner of this account. All right. And don't sign the letter. If you send a credit repair letter to the bureaus with your driver's license and then sign the letter, and they can match the signatures, you dead in the water. So don't sign the letter. But when you're sending your letters to the credit bureaus, always write in cursive. All right. Here's the reason why. I know you're asking, KJ, why? I'm going to tell you why. I knew you was going to ask that. They have a program called eOscar. eOscar is their automatic system. So when they get these inquiries, sometimes they get kicked out before they even read, because they scan it for similarities. So you never want to send the same credit repair letter twice, even if you do it for yourself. Because some people will do it and say, all right, now I'm going to help my sister or my cousin, and you send that same letter and you're wondering why you're not having success. But that's why. See, I'm telling you all my secrets. I like y'all. I do. I do. I like you. I'm telling you all my secrets. Somebody must go and cash at me or take me to Outback. So listen, if you do that, trust me, it all works. Like I said, I did it for the first 50 people. You know, we have a credit repair business that we offer, a service that we offer our clients. You know, but at the end of the day, I want to partner with you guys and be your realtor. So if I can help you get your scores up, I would think that I would earn your trust enough for me to help you on the real estate side. You know, because again, my credit was so bad at one point. I think Homeland Security was created because I applied for a mortgage and there was nobody around to help you out. You know, and you know how they treat you. When you have good credit, they call you by your last name. When you have bad credit, they call you by your first name. You know, I was applying for things. KJ, look, we can't help you today. You know, you're not getting a mortgage. Call back in 6 months. How many of y'all have heard that? If you're on Facebook, I want you to say, I did. When you apply for a mortgage or something, they always say, try back in 6 months. What's going to happen in 6 months? Nothing. Because it didn't give you a game plan for 6 months. They just told you because that was a way of brushing you off. All right, so we don't brush people off. All right, we help you out. You know, that's not something we can do all day long. However, we do want to give you some tools that you can use so that you can have some success. And if you use anything that I used, that I told you about today, I've used them. Other people have used them. I mean, I have people who have used them multiple times. I have people who have filed bankruptcy and call me back and like, KJ, I filed bankruptcy. And I'm thinking, I'm thinking, oh my God, here they come, want me to help them with their credit. But they say, well, I did exactly what you said the last time, and I'm already at 720. But how can I get to an 820? I'm like, if you don't get off my phone, you had a 720 credit score. Get out of here. Figure it out. Ask Jesus. You know. But at the end of the day, all of that will work. Right. So that's how you have success with your credit. All right, get them credit scores up so we can get in, so you can buy a house. Now, let's talk about the first time home buyer process. All right, now when you start this process, two people come up the woodwork. The first one is the HGTV expert. They watch all the episodes and they try to apply what they see on TV to your real life situation. Okay, and sometimes that can come with a lot of problems. So I'm going to give you some first-hand knowledge about the process, the programs. Big shout out to Parrish Taylor from Allstate in Randallstown, who's one of our sponsors. God bless you. He just got over COVID and beat COVID. So those of you who know Parrish, please shoot him a text and, you know, wish him well. Big shout out to Classic Inspections, home inspection company. Great guy. These guys build houses. And they do a fabulous job in terms of home inspection. You know, they're really, really good. Big shout out to them. Super big shout out to Brian Jones over at Meridian Bank. Does all the programs across the state of Maryland. His number is 410-935-6746. You guys want to write that down at the conclusion of this workshop. You're going to give them a call to get pre-approved. Let them know KJ Johnson sent you from today's webinar. Okay? 410-935-6746. All right. Now, everyone that's on this webinar, whether you're on Facebook or whether you're on Zoom, all right, I want you to send an email. Okay. I want you to grab your phone and I want you to type this email because I'm going to get you a free appraisal. I want to get you a free home inspection. I'm going to get you a free termite inspection. But you have to send this email like right now. So send it to kj.realtor1@gmail.com. kj.realtor1@gmail.com. Put your first name, your last name, and put free appraisal, free home inspection, and free termite inspection. Now, we can't pay for those for you, but what will happen is at the conclusion of your settlement, we give you a credit back for those. So you'll get a credit back for all of that. It's roughly a little over $1,000. All right? So, now the chart I'm looking at now is taking into consideration someone paying $1,500 in rent. And after 15 years, that's $270,000. Now, I know a lot of people that's paying a whole lot more than that in rent. And even if you are, $270,000 in 15 years, if you're on the fence about purchasing a home, that should get you off the fence. Now, why would you want to buy a home? All right, it gives you a sense of investment control. It gives you fixed costs. Okay, you have a sense of accomplishment. It's multiple tax benefits, and it gives you a sense of stability. right? Research grant programs in your area that are available to you. Okay, attend seminars like this. Don't take other people's word for this. Do your own research. Some people, you'll be surprised how many times people will call me and they'll talk to me about 4 different programs in one conversation. I'll be like, okay, you speak in reference to one program, but you mentioned the components of 4 different ones. So it's best to sit down with someone who knows what they're talking about that can stack these programs up for you across the state of Maryland. You can get 0 money down. They're all programs up to $20,000. There's 100% financing. There's 101% financing. But you have to partner with someone who knows how to do it. A lot of times people, when they get up this meeting, they run to their bank, get approved, and then try to find a grant. It doesn't work that way. You have to find a lender, which I have. I have a team of lenders, actually. But Brian Jones offers all the programs across the state of Maryland. And when you get approved with him, he can help you along with it. He can help you identify what program is best for you and your family. And here's another thing. If you have a home for sale and you're trying to sell a house, and you want to sell a property, if you sell your house, you may qualify for these programs all over again. It didn't used to be that way, but you may qualify. Okay, so you can sell your house, and actually, it used to be a 3-year threshold. They've done away with that in 2018. I don't know what's going to happen for the rest of this year, but as of right now, you can take advantage of it. All right, find someone who's going a route that you're taking. All right, don't talk to someone, especially someone who have never bought a home. They the worst because they know everything. The ones who never bought a house, they know everything. All right. Research home prices in your area. If you're paying $1,900 in rent in Towson, and you're in a townhouse, 9 times out of 10 you're gonna pay a $1,900 mortgage. Okay. Make sure you do that. All right. What paperwork are you gonna need? You're gonna need your last 3 years tax returns. You're gonna need your W-2s. You're gonna need bank statements. All right. If you're self-employed, you're gonna need a profit and loss statement. And if you're separated or divorced, you're gonna need a notarized letter to that effect. All right. Who are the key people involved, in your transaction? You have your realtor. So if you're selling the house, that's gonna be your listing agent. If you're buying a house, it's gonna be your buyer's agent. All right. You have a mortgage lender, you have a builder, we talk lines, he's going to put up a fence with someone. You have the right amount of shine, the cheapest insurance you can find. Because here's what happened with that. That you need, and you couldn't possibly make a good guess as to you having the right insurance. So there's something called a sewer line backup. Most people aren't going to tell you about that. You have to ask them, did you add in sewer line backup? If this house burns down, what's my deductible, and does it rebuild the whole house? Or, I heard some horror stories. People had to come out of their pocket 10%. That house been burned down. They got to come up with, $40,000 because they don't have the right insurance, right? Or some of the items in the house wasn't covered. Diamond rings, expensive bags or clothing, not covered. Why? You don't have the right amount of insurance. All right, so make sure you get the right amount of insurance. Paris Taylor, Allstate, Randallstown, he's the best. That's the reason why I use him. All right, your title company and your title attorney are going to help you facilitate the transferring of the property from the seller to you, the buyer. All right. We're going to talk about negotiating a little bit. We're in a very, very competitive market. And I tell you, a lot of agents used to pride themselves on getting closing costs help. But the game has changed, ladies and gentlemen. And here's what you need to be presenting with your contracts. When you write a contract, you need to send a bank statement. Yes, I said that. Or a retirement account, thrift savings, something that shows the seller your ability to perform. right? Gone are the days where you just send over an earnest money deposit and approval letter. They don't care about that. You have multiple offers now. You have people sending in their 401k with, you know, $80,000, $100,000, $300,000 in it. Why? They want to show the seller that they're the best possible candidate for the house. And in other instances, if the house under appraised, people are paying from $30,000 to $50,000 if it's under appraised. So listen to this. If you buy a $500,000 house and you put a contract on it, and the appraiser come back at $450,000, some people are paying the $50,000 difference in this market. All right, how do you compete with that if you don't have that caliber of capital? Right, we're gonna talk about ways to do that. All right, send what you have. Okay, don't ask for any closing costs help. If you do, 9 times out of 10 in this market, your offer is probably not going to be accepted. All right, especially if it's a hot property. If it's been sitting on the market a while, and you can actually have your agent have a conversation with the listing agent to make sure that there's no offers pending, and maybe do like a verbal, you know, say what, see if the seller would entertain this offer. You know, say for instance, if it's $500,000 house, you want to put an offer on it. It's been really no activity. You can call them and say, look, ask the seller if I offer, you know, $515,000, will he give me the $15,000 in closing costs? So they may do that if they don't have any offers in. But if it's something that just hit the market and they have multiple offers, like 18, 19 contracts, don't waste your time on that. Right? Here's how you would win out those offers. You want to partner with your lender and make sure they can close as fast as possible. I sold a house in Hyattsville, and the agent closed the deal in like 11 days. I don't even know how that was. I mean, it wasn't a cash deal. It was they financed this deal. Okay, so the title company turned title in 11 days. The lender turned the loan in 11. I mean, the appraisal, everything, 11 days. So you want to see if you have a lender that can perform at that caliber, that rate. You want to make sure that they can do that. And if they can do that, that helps you out. The second thing is an earnest money deposit. I mean, it's a $400,000 house. I mean, back in the days, and that's just last year. I'm saying back in the days, just 18 months ago, you could do $4,000, $3,000. You will find now you're seeing $15,000 and $20,000 earnest money deposits. How do you compete with that? If you can, you do what you can. All right, and you just do 3 to 4 or 5,000. You do what you can, but you try to speed up the closing rate. You try to offer more on the house than the list price. Okay. If you do have retirement, send over your retirement statement with it. Okay. Write a letter to the listing to the seller. Believe it or not, it worked. It worked for me on numerous occasions. All right. So here's what that letter will look like. If you went to go see a house and they had a nice furniture that you liked, or some blinds, or you like the color that they used on the cabinets, when your letter should reflect that. Okay, and then in addition to that, the first person you want to patronize in that letter is the listing agent. So your letter might want to sound like this: Dear Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for the opportunity to view and write a contract on your house, and I would like to commend your listing agent in helping you get your home for sale. They did a phenomenal job. The listing agent might not have did anything. The seller might be like, they ain't do that, I did that. But there's some instances listing agents are everything to the seller. Everything. They help them from the beginning to end. Right? From the beginning to end. You know, I sit down with people who don't think their house is ever going to sell. And we sell it in a day and a half. Why? Because they follow the steps. And if the agent, sometimes realtors don't really get the support from their clients like they should. So telling them in that letter that their agent did a good job, number one, it solidifies that they made a good choice. Number two, it gives that agent their props, you know. And then, hey, if they gotta go to bat for a contract, they go to bat for yours. They're like, I like that letter, I like that. Let me get that agent a call, you know. And then you want to go on to just talk about how you like the blinds. You want to go on and talk about how you like the white cabinets and or what have you. You don't want to talk about how they decorated the bedroom or the bathroom. Just trying to find something in the house to identify with and just put it in that letter. One time I sold a house at Upper Marlboro, right? And this lady wrote this letter. I helped her write this letter, and she talked about the wallpaper. She couldn't stand the wallpaper at all. She was like, "Oh my God, this is horrible. I like the house, but I can't stand the wallpaper." I said, "We're putting it in the letter." At the settlement table, that's what the lady said. I took so much time when I picked that wallpaper out, and I'm glad that you mentioned it because that's why I picked your contract. I wouldn't even pick that up. That wallpaper was horrible. It was horrible, man. I ain't even gonna lie. But thank God when she bought the house, we got rid of the wallpaper. But that saved the deal. That saved the deal. Yeah, So that's something you could do. Write letters and identify with the agent, try to identify with the seller, try to appeal to their sensitive side. Believe it, it sounds corny in some instances, but it works. I'm being serious with you. It works, right? Now, it's not more that you can do other than that. Raise the sales price, write a letter, fast closing, going over the sales price, high earnest money deposit, send it in a bank statement. Once you've done all that, you put your best foot forward to be competitive in this market. And that's where you're going to find success. All right, being competitive in this market. All right. Now, we're going to talk about a couple of different programs. You're going to have to get in contact with Mr. Jones in reference to the rest of them. Again, Mr. Jones' number is 410-935-6746. He is with Meridian Bank. All right. Y'all ready for these programs? Here we go. All right, Baltimore City. You have Live Where You Work, buying into Baltimore, vacant to values. Baltimore County, you have the Dundalk Renaissance and the Settlement Expense Loan Program. All right. There's always the Maryland Mortgage Program. All right. The Maryland Mortgage Program is, we call it Old Faithful. It's always there. All right. So the Maryland Mortgage Program is one of the best programs out there. And they have two components to it. One is called the Grant Assist, which will give you the Grant Assist program that will give you actually 101% financing instead of just 100%. Right? So you may want to look into that program, and then sometimes you can stack that program with multiple other programs. All right? So let's finish going through the ones I have, and then again, depending on where you want to purchase, Mr. Jones does across the whole state of Maryland. He can find you some other opportunity. All right? In Columbia, there's a home purchase program. There's an employee assistance housing program. Okay? And Queen Anne's County, there's the moderate price dwelling program. All right? So this is just a few of the programs that are out there. Some of them are out of money now. If you get in contact with Mr. Jones, he'll be able to help you identify what programs are fully funded, which ones you qualify for, how many you can stack together. Okay? And then that's going to put you in a position to be a homeowner. All right. Now, does anyone have any questions? If so, if you can type them on Facebook, Marcus, if you could let me know what those questions are, I'll be happy to help them out or answer the questions I can.
Okay, if you have any questions, you can unmute yourself. I'm about to let everybody unmute themselves.
Anyone?
Yes, I got a question. I have a question. Can you repeat those programs again?
Well, listen, thank you guys for tuning in.
Can you hear me?
I'm a realtor that will never leave you nor forsake you. So that's why I'm doing this Zoom call on the road. Go and take care of business. My number is 443-744-5280. Text me if you want to get pre-approved. Text me, Tyrone Jones. Yes, Brandon. I didn't think. Okay, yeah, so text me at 443-744-5280. That's my cell phone. If you have any questions, you can text me directly. And what I'll do is I will answer any questions or calls at the conclusion of the workshop. All right. Again, get in contact with Mr. Jones. It's going to help you get pre-approved. 410-935-6746. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. God bless and have a good one.